Hello, and welcome to Pressing Buttons. I'm Hugo.
I'm Nick.
And another great week, another great episode. It's good to be here, everybody. Episode 68 of Pressing Buttons. Look at that. We're almost there. We're almost at 69.
Okay, I didn't know if how explicit you were going to get with whatever milestone you were referencing. But
Yeah, you didn't know. You thought it was going to be like 100
there
or
it
something.
is.
Yeah, it was 69. Haha. That's how youthful our podcast is. Thanks for joining us, guys. We are here. Quick reminder, please follow us on Twitter, follow us on mostly YouTube, and follow us on Instagram wherever you can. Go to pressingbuttons.gg, our website. You can get all our links from there. We appreciate the support. Leave a comment, helps the algorithm and all that stuff. Makes us popular. And if we're popular, you're popular. I don't know if that's
Just stop. That's one and done. We can.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't know if that's how it works, but whatever. All right, we're gonna get right into some video game news. As we told you guys last week, it's basically not E3 week, Summer's Game Fest down in LA. We got a lot of showcases that are gonna be happening. A lot of video game announcements are gonna be happening between last week and this week coming up. You have Ubisoft, Capcom, and a bunch of other studios that will be doing their showcases throughout the week. And so far, we've had Summer Game Fest by Jeff Keighley, and then Microsoft just did their Xbox Showcase today, which we just watched, today being Sunday. And we're going to go over that. We're going to go over Summer's Game Fest first, and then we'll talk about the Xbox Showcase. We're basically just going to kind of go over everything that interested us. We'll put the links to the videos in the show notes so you guys can watch it if you haven't seen it. I would recommend it. Definitely some good stuff in those showcases. But let's start it off with Summer's Game Fest. We're going to highlight the games that interested us, that seemed cool, that we enjoyed. First off, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth shown off as the last thing on Summer's Game Fest. There was a lot of debate. I think a lot of people thought that Jeff Keighley was going to do some sort of Death Stranding thing or something like that because, he's really good pals with Kojima. But Final Fantasy VII was the big announcement at the end. Rebirth, brand new trailer featuring gameplay, featuring Red 13, a big view of the world of the outside once you're outside of Midgard, which looked pretty fucking amazing. The game looked amazing overall. And then the trailer itself, very cryptic, I would say, in terms of giving information about the story and where it's heading, especially since we know now it's a bit of a deviation from the original story. I was very, very pleased by this. I still got to finish the remake myself, so no spoilers. But I'm enjoying what I'm seeing. They did announce that it's going to be early 2024. Unfortunately, it's not going to make the 2023 end of the year window, which sad.
Nah, thank you.
Thank you. Yeah.
We got so much stuff to play. Like I wanna have a clear schedule for when that comes out. So
Listen, man, the more games that released in 2023, apparently, well, 2023 is not a real thing, but the more stuff that releases in 2023, I think the better, because you could just backlog it. Just put it in the back. You'll play it eventually. But what are your thoughts on the trailer? Like, did you enjoy it? I know you're a big... You finished the game and all that stuff, so you
yeah, no. I was looking forward to that. I think because it was rumored that the game was going to come out, winter of 2023, which could be end of this year or kind of early next year. So yeah, I think a lot of people were expecting to see something, whether it was going to be now or maybe like Tokyo Game Show or some other standalone event. We didn't know, but we saw it here. I thought it looked good. So we did a live stream of, I don't know if we really talked about this, but in case you want even more Pressing Buttons content, we did do a live stream of Summer Game Fest.
The archive's still on Twitch. We had technical difficulties
and so
as well.
This was positioned as like basically the last reveal of the show. And as I was watching it, I don't know if you remember this, but I was just like, I think it's because we were live streaming and I was so distracted about just all the other dumb shit we were talking about, and I couldn't really focus on it. And you're asking me what I thought about the trailer, and I was like, yeah, it's fine, But after that, I went back into it and had like a focused watch on it, as like several several watches. So I've watched the trailer now multiple times. I've beaten Final Fantasy VII Remake. I've completed the Intergrade DLC. This is one of my most anticipated games for sure. I thought it looked. I still, some of my feedback I still think holds true. Where, and I don't know. It's probably like a dumb take. I feel like the trailer is not as good as some of the trailers for Final Fantasy VII Remake, where I felt like those trailers were just like just maximized hype. At least for me. So I feel like I'm the outlier because I've seen a lot of people reacting to this new trailer and they're all like losing their minds. But I think that's just a lot of the like, oh yeah, like here's the scene from the original game, and so there's more of that versus maybe how they approached maybe some of the other trailers and with the first game. So. But either way, it's still very impressive. Like it looks like the worlds or the levels and the worlds like way more expansive and open. And I guess it remains to be seen whether that's going to be a good design decision. They look incredible, but like whether that's actually better for the game or not, we'll have to see. That was a criticism I think of Final Fantasy VII Remake, where it was fairly linear. The levels were pretty small and compact. I was fine with that and enjoyed it. Like I thought they were able to have these like pretty densely populated areas that I thought were like a lot of fun to explore. So, but it seems like they're going in the direction of just bigger, more expansive areas to explore. And yeah, really, I guess it must be kind of a spoiler. Or I guess it must be a spoiler if you haven't played the first one, but there's definitely different timelines and all that stuff kind of going on. So I think you're seeing a lot of people speculating around what is this new trailer trying to tell us in terms of the story. People are very worried about Tifa for some reason, but I think she'll be fine. They're not.
People are more worried about Tifa than they were about Aerith.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of just rambling at this point, but enjoyed the trailer. I don't know. Maybe it's because I was so hyped about the remake project with the first one. That's why like I remember those trailers like just like blowing me away and seeing some of the main characters for the first time. And now that's just not the case anymore. But that's it.
Yeah, I think you're right. It kind of, the nostalgia and all that has kind of worn off, especially since we know what the project is. So now it's just like, what new innovations will they be showing and stuff like that. So I guess the closer we get, we'll probably see more stuff and we'll see more differences. So we'll just wait for that. All right, next big announcement that we were excited about is the Spider-Man 2 release date. It officially got announced that the game will be releasing October 20th, 2023. So definitely making that fall window, as they were saying. They came in, one of the lead directors, I believe, came in, did a quick announcement. It was pretty funny. That was the quickest entrance I've ever seen. Didn't even let Jeff Keighley finish.
That was probably one of my biggest laughs of the show was this guy just
storming in.
Just stormed in. Yeah, he was ready.
I'm here with a date, but it looked pretty good. Obviously, they showed off the box art for the game. That looks pretty cool. They also showed off a little bit more concept art or game art with Venom. There's a speculation that Eddie Brock was going to be in this game, but I don't know why, because we haven't really had a hint of Eddie Brock in the previous game. And then the storyline that they're kind of telling is its own unique story that's not kind of following any of the comics or anything that's kind of established. And I believe, if spoilers for those that have not played the first Spider-Man or anything like that, the symbiote is held by Norman Osborn, and he's trying to use it to help Harry Osborn or whatever. So we think it's going to be one of the Osborns that's going to have it or be with it. And obviously, like we said last week, Craven being the main showcase for the trailer that they did, we don't think he's going to be the big bad. It's just going to be like a side bad, like Mr. Negative was not the big bad. It was the whole Sinister Six and all that stuff. You hyped to finally get a date? Or were you thinking it was going to get delayed?
No, I don't think it was going to get delayed. No, it's good. It's good to have clarity on the date. I think when we get into our overall impressions of Summer Game Fest, I find it kind of funny that probably one of the most impactful and exciting things was a release date of a game that we just saw like 10 minutes of, gameplay from the Sony showcase. So it doesn't really.
Yeah, I mentioned this. That was like my big surprise that they didn't announce this at the Sony showcase. I mean, I understand maybe Jeff Keighley gets the exclusives, and this is some sort of exclusive. So that was very kind of funny to me that they didn't announce this at the Sony showcase and decided to do it at the Summer Game Fest. But we got a date, and that's the important thing. Next game we were interested in is Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown. It's basically a reimagining of the Prince of Persia. It's a 2D scroller. It looked really good to me. I'm a big fan of Prince of Persia, so I'm glad to see it in some form or other. I played a lot of them. I played all three original ones, the Sands of Time trilogy. I also played the one that was just like Prince of Persia. I think that was the name. It was like an elemental one that was very colorful. It was really enjoyable. I don't know if you ever played that one, but I really liked that one. And the internet apparently did not like this. I don't know if maybe they were expecting something else or they were expecting something kind of back to the original ones, but it got downvoted a lot. I like the game. I'm very happy with what I saw. I'm excited. I'll probably play it just because I'm a big fan of it. Did you have any thoughts on this? About the internet being mad or just Prince of Persia overall?
First of all, I'm still trying to I don't know if you saw my reaction, but which Prince of Persia games are you talking about? Because like the ones that you played, because I'm gonna date myself, but I was playing like
I never played the original, like the Sega one or whatever. Yeah. So I know of it, but I never played it.
Okay, so to me, it's like, as like the old guy, like I'm like, oh yeah, like that's going back to its roots.
As the older guy, not the old guy.
Yeah. So yeah, I feel like a lot of people are like getting all fired up about Prince of Persia going 2D Metroidvania, and I'm like, no, that was actually what the original game was. Like I can't even remember. I think I played it on. It must have been some like PC. And then I think I even played it on the Atari Lynx, which is
I don't even know what that is.
Right? Wasn't that what that thing was called? It was the Atari. It was their portable device. Yeah, it was their handheld game.
First time I ever heard Atari had a portable.
I think it was on. Device. Yeah, so there was like a version of Prince of Persia on one of these like obscure older handhelds. So that's my memory of Prince of Persia. So to me, it's like seeing a 2D version. Like I think that could be cool. There's such a saturated market with Metroidvanias. Like I think, and I actually don't even really remember the original Prince of Persia like that much. I don't think it had that kind of level design of a Metroidvania. So maybe that's like, whether I'm remembering that correctly, but that could be like a new direction for that. But I don't know. I think that's stuff. So the direction kind of makes sense to me, but at the same time, I'm not really like that excited about it.
Yeah, maybe we'll see more on Tuesday, I believe, when Ubisoft has their showcase. But if you like it, you like it. If you don't, you don't. Just move on from it.
Wasn't this one of the dimensions I'm going to start evaluating games showcases is is the game trying too hard to look like Fortnite? And
wow.
Like how many of those games are there, like as a percent of all the games that are shown? And I think this was one of them, right? Like this looks like.
But you're saying Fortnite as in like the art style?
Just like the style, yeah. Not a battle royale.
The character did look a little like when they zoomed in or whatever, when they showed the cinematics of it a little bit.
Like I'm getting like very fatigued by that.
Well, especially with the new season of Fortnite, the Wilds. There's a character that looks like a mix between Uncharted and Prince of Persia guy. So maybe. What you're saying is you're sick of the Fortnite art style. I get it. All right, next big game is Mortal Kombat 1, and this one was super hyped. It was the first game that they showed off in the showcase. Ed Boon came out, showed off full gameplay. You got to see the new looks for a lot of the characters like Sub-Zero and Scorpion and Katana and Johnny Cage, which interesting fact, will be voiced by Jean-Claude Van Damme, who I believe was an inspiration for him. The game looks great. A lot of brutal fatalities. They also showed off the cameo system, kind of how you can bring all these characters. Very interesting to see. I don't know if they did give like a full concrete answer to this, but I believe that the cameos are only cameos. Like they're not gonna be. You can't use them as main characters. You can't use them as fighters, which
That's right. Yeah.
which was kind of a little bit disappointing because that means a lot of the older characters are just characters that you might not be main fighters, which cool. But they did show off from the silhouettes, like it's going to be a lot of characters that are going to be in the main game, and there's also going to be a lot of cameo characters. So that seemed pretty interesting. I know we're in a little Street Fighter 6 haven. Well, at least you, who doesn't want to hear about anything else.
Honeymoon period.
Yeah, but what did you think of the Mortal Kombat 1
Is
information?
cameo spelled with a K? I can't even remember.
Yeah, man.
Of course,
Cameo
yeah.
with a K.
I like to think that they were just trying to like look for words and then like, okay, which of these words can we convert so that it starts with a K? And like, oh, I think we can do cameo, and then they kind of like work backwards from that, and that's how the whole like assist system made its way into the game. I also think from a monetization perspective, I'm sure that was part of the process of like, hey, we can actually, people are going to need 2 different slots to fill to play a match. So like, I'm sure that influenced like how like who they're going to pick for whether it's like a main character or cameo and all that stuff. So, so they're trying to double down on that. I don't know. Like I think I've said this before with Mortal Kombat. I did enjoy the wouldn't remember the name of this. It's it's like their adventure mode.
The crypt.
Oh yeah, I think it's like the crypt or something like that.
Yeah.
But I had fun playing with that, but I don't really enjoy the like fundamental fighting mechanics of Mortal Kombat all that much. So to me, it looked like a prettier version of MK11 with this like cameo system kind of bolted onto it. So to me, it's like really is the cameo mechanic like that much more fun and enjoyable? And if so, then maybe it's something that I get a little bit more interested in. So it could be. I think people, a lot of the like FGC content creators, they were actually able to play the game and were speaking pretty positively about it. So we'll just have to wait and see on that one. And I think I also mentioned before, if Homelander is a main character, then specifically the Anthony Starr, version of Homelander, like if he's in the game and they execute that well, like that's
You might just
basically
buy it
enough.
for that.
That's
Yeah.
basically enough for me just to buy the game. So
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. I think the only time will tell, and obviously, with like you said, all these like influencers and content creators were able to play the title for a little bit. So we'll do some more research on their impressions and stuff and kind of see it. The game is only a couple months away from release, and then the beta will be available soon, I believe. So we can only hope to give you more information, and we'll see how that rolls. And the next one that we want to talk about is Alan Wake 2. They showed off a big patch of gameplay. They also kind of announced that it's kind of now become more of a survival horror, and you'll be able to obviously play 2 different characters, Alan Wake, as well as the FBI agent Saga Anderson, I believe. The game looks good, really, really good. It does give me a very Resident Evil vibe, at least the last couple Resident Evils, Village and whatever the other one is. I always mess up the names. Yeah.
7 and 8.
7 and 8. Yeah, there you go. I always mess it up, even though I know that they use the Roman numerals in the title. But yeah, so it did give me that vibe. The game looks really good. Like we were saying earlier, I think I'm gonna end up purchasing the first one just to see it, just because I also know it's such a good franchise. And then I don't think you have any thoughts on that, on Alan Wake, really, or do you?
Damn, dude, that's very presumptuous of you.
Well, you didn't say anything about Alan Wake when we were doing.
Well,
the thing.
no. Well, I was going to mention something when we were talking, or when they were showing the footage. There was definitely like True Detective season 1
Oh yeah, yeah, you did mention
vibes,
that.
and I think we were like, oh, wouldn't it be cool if there was like some sort of True Detective game? And I would need to find where I saw this, but I think there was some interview or something where people were like, oh yeah, like True Detective was like an inspiration to this game. So maybe, so it wasn't just us being crazy. Like there was some intention around how they were actually building the game with that as an influence. So I thought that was kind of cool. And this was another game there was a playable build. It was just for folks in the media and maybe some influencers, but there were people playing playing the game at the show after that event, and they're like, wow, this is great. So that's giving me more interest and excitement about the game than the actual like reveal. Because when they showed it in the showcase, I was like, oh, like that's looks kind of cool. I wasn't a huge fan of Control. It's a game that I bought and played it for a little bit and just like couldn't get into it. So to me, it's
Could have gotten it for free on PlayStation Plus, but
yeah. There you go. So to me, it kind of seemed like they're trying to introduce some Control type stuff into this, existing game, Alan Wake. So yeah, I mean, so it wasn't like a turnoff necessarily, but like I wasn't really getting very excited about it. But the impressions are people are like, wow, this is going to be great, and the challenge is going to be that it's coming out in a very crowded, 2023. So that could be a tricky for that game.
yeah. But it's looking good, and I'm pretty sure it has a good enough cult following. I think it'll be fine. Next game is Like a Dragon Gaiden, which will see the return of Kiryu. I hope I said that right, Kiryu. But it's basically Kiryu with the man with no name. I know I don't follow the storyline too much of Like a Dragon, aka Yakuza, because I've only played the first one and the second one. I know there's 8 of them, and 7 of them have to do with him. So I think at the end of the first of his original storyline, he kind of goes into hiding or something, or becomes a recluse, which is kind of funny. And over here, they kind of showed off your typical regular third-person action Yakuza stuff, which I really enjoyed. The graphics look really good. I'm a big fan of the character himself. I think he's a great character. Just Yakuza's good. Like a Dragon's good. I'm excited for it. You don't like this anymore. You prefer now more the RPG style that the
so
latest
I guess,
one had.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe we'll get into this in the Xbox showcase, but I'm much more excited for that game, which is more of like the JRPG type game versus this one. So that's me.
All right, so we'll talk about that on the Xbox One. Next game was Sandland, which is a new action game based off of the manga by Akira Toriyama, which I knew about the manga itself, and I kind of recognized it immediately. I don't think you knew it beforehand, but it looks really good. It's got definitely the Akira Toriyama art style. You can definitely see that. Obviously, he's had a lot of influence in a lot of video games. He did the art for Chrono Trigger. He did the art for, obviously, he's a manga creator of Dragon Ball and Dragon Quest as well. So you can definitely see that art style. It looks pretty fun. It looks like just something enjoyable. I'll definitely have to see more of it to kind of get my full take on it. But it could be something I could be interested in.
When you
What about you?
say, like, it looks like it could be something enjoyable. I think my interpretation of that is like it's kind of like a dumb fun
Yeah,
type game. Which, yeah, no, I agree. Like, I think that's kind of that was my read on that trailer, and I'm totally down with those types of games. And yeah, I didn't never even heard of this manga before, and in the first few seconds of the trailer, I was like, oh my god, is this like some sort of? I didn't think it was Dragon Quest 12 because I think that's going to be its own beast. But I was like, oh, is this some sort of like Dragon Quest spin-off game? But it's not. It's its own franchise, Sandland. So I don't know. Like, I think look cool. It's like driving around in a tank and
and a
blowing
robot
shit
doing
up
robot
and
things. Yeah,
yeah. So maybe that's all you need in a game.
yeah. All right, next announcement that we want to talk about is Twisted Metal. So they showed off a small snippet of the show featuring Anthony Mackie, who plays one of the main characters, as well as Sweet Tooth, who is played by a different actor but voiced by Will Arnett, which I find weird as fuck. Especially because I know what Will Arnett looks like. If it was just like a voice actor that I didn't know, I'd be okay with that. But this show is this snippet of footage was so cringy. It's so bad. But I'm interested. I'm interested in just hate watching this.
No. Do you hate watch stuff?
No, but this like it's a video game franchise and everybody's giving it shit. So I think I will hate watch this. This will be my first hate watch. Because usually if I don't like we've all done this where we start watching a show and then it just sucks, and most of the time people continue watching it just to finish it.
No, they don't. No.
Yeah, they do. I feel
No.
like you can't just drop something.
Sure you can.
Yeah, or just not watch it.
Sure you can. Yeah. I think this was the most upsetting thing that I saw in Summer Game Fest. It was just like, as someone who really likes the Twisted Metal franchise, I think there was, a lot of different ways you could approach this show, or approach trying to adapt the game into a TV show. And I did not have it. They did. I don't even know if it was like a trailer, but they had this teaser where it was really just like Anthony Mackie in his car and whatever. And that did not give me a good impression at all. Like, I hate it. I was like, this is awful, and I basically hate everything about this. And I didn't think it would be this bad. Like, it's very bad.
Yeah, and then they had the
like,
music too.
Yeah, like I've been like just getting triggered nonstop with horrible music selections. Yeah, it's like I think we gotta move on.
Yeah, we don't need to talk.
I'm getting upset thinking about it. But it's like,
we don't need to talk about it anymore.
That's the best. Like, that's the thing. Like, in context of a Games Awards show, you have millions of people watching. That's the thing you think is gonna get people interested in the show. Like,
yeah,
these people need to be fired. Like,
well, after
it's like. Maybe as like a dumb thing that happens like in the episode, but like trailer. Like, there's no fucking way, dude.
after so many good video game adaptations that we've had back to back, we're going back. We're going back into the days of shitty adaptations.
This sets us back to the original Mario Brothers movie with Bob Hoskins and.
Hey, I like that movie.
Yeah.
No hate on that movie.
Yeah.
I think that's probably going to be better than this.
That's how bad this trailer is. It's just completely undone all the progress that's been made in the last 12 to 18 months.
All right. Next game is Liza P. We got a brand new trailer of the game as well as a release date and a demo. Looks really good. I forgot. I thought this had come out already, but you had mentioned it last week that it was coming up soon, but it was good to see. Still can't get behind the concept of this being like a Pinocchio thing, but we'll see how that goes. I just find it dumb and absurd, but that will not stop me from playing the game if it's good. The combat looks good, definitely. Like we said before, it's definitely a Dark Souls influenced, and and Sekiro and those type of games, Neo and all that stuff. I haven't downloaded the demo. I will, so we'll give our impressions. I don't think you have either. But does this make you want to purchase the game more? Looking into it.
Yeah, I think it looks really impressive. To me, it's like Bloodborne meets BioShock, but they're using, the Pinocchio universe as like the foundation for storytelling, which I don't know, maybe it ends up being really cool. Like I don't really know much about Pinocchio other than like the Disney movie, and I also think Lies of P is just such a terrible name that like that's already enough been like a battle just to be like, okay, can I actually get excited about a game with this terrible of a title? But I think they've shown enough where it's like, okay, this game looks pretty impressive. I've just been, we'll get into this in closing thoughts, I guess, but there's a lot of games to be played currently, so I actually haven't downloaded the demo for this yet, but I intend to, in the next couple days. It seems like of people who have been playing the demo, like seems good, so seems to be tracking well. That maybe I'll be checking this out. I think this is a Game Pass game, right?
I'll have to check on that.
Okay,
but
I feel like
yeah,
I feel like you generally know more about when games are on Game Pass than I do because it like sets you off for some reason. So
sets me off.
Yeah.
This is not my Peacock. This is not my Twisted Metal Peacock thing.
Okay.
This is
So if it's on Game Pass, like I'll definitely play it for sure. If it's not, I still feel pretty good that maybe I'll end up buying it. But I'll have better information next week after I've played the demo.
Yeah, it does look like it's on Game Pass. It will be released September 19th, 2023, so check it out on there. The funniest thing you said about that in the whole thing was the Pinocchio universe. Like, and there's too many universes. I don't think we can say Pinocchio universe.
What is it then? The world?
The Pinocchio game, yeah.
No, it's a book.
I know it's a book. It's a book. It's a movie. It's animated. It's non-animated. Tom Hanks was in one. It's not connected.
Okay. Okay.
All right, let's move on from Lies of P into the last game that we want to talk about, and that is Dead by Daylight, which they showed off Nicolas Cage, and that was like I think one of the most funny, surreal, very interesting things that happened in the whole thing. Especially seeing somebody like Nick Cage, who's such a big character actor and just kind of overall funny person. Not that he does it to be funny. It's just kind of how he is. But they showed off his skin that will be in the game. He seemed really excited about it. The crowd definitely loved it. I think it was one of the highlights. You and I kind of, have different opinions on this. I don't think he's the best, like, kind of special guest that any showcase has had. I think to me, still Keanu Reeves, but he's a very close second. So, what did you think of his whole appearance and everything like that?
He's up there. Yeah, I think he was one of the better, TV film celebrity appearances. There's been a bunch of those. I think pretty much with all these big game showcases, they always have people from Hollywood that seem to like stick out like a sore thumb, and almost always it's just like this cringy, uncomfortable appearance. I feel like he actually was like, it was like pretty entertaining. I think it was too long. Like they, remember that it's Dead by Daylight and it's a skin. It's not. It shouldn't be. This,
it wasn't a gameplay. It wasn't.
It's like it doesn't need to be this like 10-minute, all this stuff. So it's like, I think they could have streamlined that significantly, and everyone would have been better off. But I don't know. So I thought that was it was fun enough. Just too long, and I also think the skin doesn't look like Nicolas Cage.
It definitely does not.
The thing on the live stream I said was that it looks like a bizarro love child of Chris Evans and Bob Odenkirk. So
I mean,
So there's
honestly,
that.
in the game, like the whatever it was, the wallpaper or the game art does not look like him. But when they showed actual footage, I think it looked more like him. But obviously, it's not like a high fidelity type of game where it's a one for one in terms of facial animation. So I think it looked good, and it's Dead by Daylight, so I'm not taking it too seriously. But that does it for all the games that we wanted to kind of discuss that they showed off at Summer Game Fest. Like I said, we'll put the video in the notes so you guys can see the whole thing, and anything that we might have missed or anything that we didn't discuss, you guys can see that. But my overall impression on this, I think it's a meh. I was satisfied, if that could be said. I think, honestly, we had this discussion. We weren't really expecting anything huge. Obviously, the Final Fantasy VII Rebirth trailer was kind of like the biggest thing, as well as the Spider-Man release date. Everything else was just kind of like, okay, nothing crazy, nothing revealing. Jeff Keighley, he usually reserves like the big stuff for the Game Awards. So I would definitely expect something more out of that when that happens at the end of the year. But I thought it was a good showcase to start off this whole 2 weeks of intense gaming news and showcases and all that stuff. What are your thoughts on the overall showcase?
I think I'll second your meh. Like that was my vibe. I think it's really Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, seeing more of that, and the Spider-Man release date, and everything else is just kind of like whatever,
Yeah, all right.
whatever, dude.
Yeah,
So
but
yeah,
it was a good one. It was a good one. Just enough. But definitely check it out when you can, because it's a lot of good video game footage. Next showcase that we want to talk about is the Xbox One. This one, same thing. We'll go over kind of our highlights of the showcase, even though I have very strong thoughts on the showcase.
yeah. I can't wait to get into that because
Yeah.
I feel like we have very different perspectives on this.
That's why we have a podcast. But first game was Fable. They came out right off the bat. And this is going to be a running thing, but it's a CGI trailer. Even though it says gameplay footage. So
Nah, so there's a difference between. So I think people use different words and it confuses the shit out of everyone. So
well, yeah,
to
I'm
me, like
confused.
that was like a cinematic, like it's a non-interactive piece of
That's in the game.
audio visual, content.
Gotcha.
But I think what Xbox said going into the show was that there's going to be a lot of, or I think they said no. I don't know if we have the tweet reference, but they made some specific comment, kind of shitting on Sony for featuring a lot of cinematics, which I think maybe didn't use. They were not in engine, like they were just kind of CGI or whatever. And so I think they were making a comment like, "Oh yeah, no, all the stuff we're showing it's going to be all in engine," and it's like, okay, well, you can still have cinematics that are in engine that actually don't tell you anything about what the game actually is and all that. So I think they're going to get quite a bit of feedback on that tweet, because I think a lot of people probably did the same thing you did, where it's like, oh well, I'm just going to see all gameplay, it's going to be whatever. And it took them a while to get to, like, the first several trailers were all just cinematics, but in engine. I used air quotes.
It's the same bullshit, just a different name. So fuck them for that. Fuck them.
That's marketing for you.
Yeah. But obviously the trailer showcased a giant Dave. He's played by Richard Ayoade from the IT crowd. And it was, it was Fable. Very witty, kind of funny, barbs and stuff like that. Like I said, it was just a CGI trailer of an in-game CGI trailer. So, I have no thoughts on that.
It was cool to see Fable, just based on, because we didn't live stream this one, but me and you were watching it on Discord, so we were kind of reacting in real time, and I was like, okay, I think I can see, based on their selection of celebrity, I think this is Fable, because I think they're trying to match his humor and the humor of Fable, and it was, I guess, interesting to see him playing a giant. So he's like, I don't know how big of a character he is in the actual game, but that was kind of interesting how they revealed that throughout the trailer. Yeah, only other feedback is like, would have been nice to see how the game actually plays. And I thought the main character looked absolutely terrible. I'm guessing it's a create your own character, type of thing.
Yeah,
Which is great, but it's like, can you just not make the character look like shit still? Like,
well, they've always been kind of janky looking, I think.
But everyone else looked,
all Fable
everyone
characters.
else looked fine, I thought.
Well, we'll see. We'll see. Hopefully, we get more information out of this soon. They did say release 2024, so hopefully we'll see. Next big game we wanted to talk about, Star Wars Outlaws. So this one, another kind of in-game CG trailer, showed off basically a character who's kind of like a Han Solo type character. They did, by the name of it, you can kind of see that they're going with the kind of underbelly, the seedy world of Star Wars, bounty hunting and rascals and all that stuff. They did say that they will be showing more information at the Ubisoft event, which will be on Tuesday. So we'll kind of reserve our takes for that until we see more. So we'll discuss it next week. Next big game, Avowed from Obsidian. So this one kind of, I was surprised that you kind of picked this one right off the bat, because I was not remembering any of this. But it's basically, it's got your Skyrim vibes with magic, kind of updated graphics and stuff like that. I was not impressed by this. I think it was just...
Okay.
I'm very fatigued by these type of games. There's been a lot of these. We got Immortals, Avium that's coming out soon. That's like this. Obviously, I'm not a big fan of Skyrim myself, but my take is that I think the Immortals ones look better, and it just looks like it'll be more interesting. But Obsidian is a great studio, so definitely expecting this to be gangbusters. I feel like a lot of people will be enjoying this one. What did you think of Avowed?
I think I had the same reaction as you, where I was like, okay, like it didn't really look super impressive. So this is definitely a wait and see title for me.
All right. Then we got Senua Saga Hellblade 2. This one, it's, oh my god, I feel like every time we see this,
I actually want to physically assault the person who created this marketing asset. Like,
I mean, is it
like, why?
Did you play the first one?
No.
Is it maybe that's it? Is it that because we didn't play the first one, we're not getting it?
It doesn't matter. It's not our. That's not our obligation to play every game for trailer. To like understand what's going on in a trailer. Like,
yeah, no, you're right. I just feel like to give it the benefit of the doubt is maybe we just don't get it. But it was like the main character in a cave that looked like buttholes.
So bad. People chanting in the background. Like,
the last the trailer that they did, I don't remember. I think it was for the Game Awards or for something. The last trailer that they showed for this was way more exciting, and I didn't even understand that one either.
so that's fine, because I think it was shorter, and it was also like positioned as more of a technical showcase of like, hey, like this game is gonna look fucking crazy, and so I think in that context, I was like, okay, that's fine. Like, yeah, the game does look really good and from a technical perspective, but like this was just like, what the hell is this? Like, I don't know. So it was very, I think probably one of the worst trailers I've seen in quite some time.
Yeah, not a good reception from us. So we'll move on to actually something that we do like. Next, they showed off Like a Dragon, Infinite Wealth. This one is, for those unfamiliar, Like a Dragon is the rebranding of Yakuza to the literal translation of it. And it stars the new character that they had for the last Like a Dragon game, Ichiban. Nick's favorite type of game now. It's reverted to an RPG. It was just a trailer. He washes up in the beaches in Hawaii naked, and it's kind of funny. It's got that Like a Dragon humor. So I really enjoyed it. Gonna be interesting to kind of see this set in somewhere else that's not Japan. So that'll be interesting. How hyped were you?
Is it Hawaii? Like, I just made that up.
Yeah.
Is Hawaii?
It's Hawaii.
Does the game actually take place in Hawaii?
That's what I'm thinking, because he washes up in Hawaii.
Yeah, I mean, who knows? Like,
unless, because it was clearly American. Like he was speaking in Japanese, but the people's reacting to him were American.
Yeah, but it could be tourist and
No, but it was like everybody was.
Yeah,
it was speaking like in English, American English.
Yeah, maybe I need to watch it again, but. Yeah, I mean, for me, so it's like I'm very much looking forward to this game. I don't even remember when Yakuza 7 came out. Was that like was it 2020? It might have been 2020.
Yeah, 2020.
So whenever, I say this all the time, but whenever that game came out, that was my game of the year. So I played the hell out of that game, very much looking forward to it. It was a little interesting because that title was such a deviation from how the games normally were, where it's more kind of the like arcadey action beat 'em up type game, which those are all the games that were Kiryu as the lead. So it seems like they're just going to like parallel track these games where like they're going to continue doing the Kiryu, just punch people game, and then also the Ichiban JRPG type game as well. So I think that's cool. Keep everyone happy. Yeah, I guess this kind of same what we were saying before. Like it was just a cinematic, so don't really know much about what the game, what the actual game is. So that'd be my only ding on that.
Yeah, but if you're a fan, definitely it's good to be a fan of Like a Dragon with so many different offerings. Next game is Path of the Goddess, and then this is a new one. We hadn't seen this before. It's being developed by Capcom. I really like the art style. Very unique, something we haven't really seen. Initially, we thought it was like Onimusha. Is it? Am I saying it right?
Onimusha?
Yeah.
Yep.
I thought it was Onishuma for some reason. Yeah, we initially thought that it was Onimusha just because it had the demons and then obviously the setting, but we saw that it's way more colorful, has more of a yokai vibe kind of thing. I believe it's a bit of CG trailer as well with some actual gameplay footage, because it did look like there was some actual gameplay footage in there. Definitely something that I'm interested in. Obviously, I think in tomorrow's showcase for Capcom, whatever they're doing, we'll probably see more of this. So I'm excited to see more of this. What did you think of this one? Did it pique your interest?
Yeah, for sure. I think just need to see more. I think I'm all in on Capcom. They've just been on a tear with pretty much every game they've released. So cool to see a new IP, what seems to be a fairly fresh take on gameplay. I was getting like, I don't know, this will probably end up being wrong, but my initial glimpse of the actual gameplay, I was like, oh, is this kind of like a Diablo type thing, but with, it seemed like there was like a cooperative, I don't know, it's like, I don't know if you control those characters, but like, I don't know, so it's, this look cool. I'm very interested in it. And that's all I got.
All right. Next two big ones is Persona 5 Tactica, which is RTS version of Persona. So I'm not that into Persona. So, and then the Persona 3 remake, which had gotten leaked a couple of days before, that looks really, really good. Obviously, Persona, big brand. A lot of people enjoy the games. Usually, you kind of see this more from PlayStation, so it's very interesting to see this more on the Xbox side, at least showcased here as well. And then you had with that, which they kind of announced a bit later, was Metaphor Refantasio. I don't know if I said that right, but it's a word jumble in there, which is a new RPG as well, made by the same studio that's known for the Persona titles, and that looks really good. We initially thought that there was probably like a new Shin Megami Tensei, but it's not. Your thoughts on these three titles, especially with this Atlas foray into Xbox and pushing that in there?
Yeah, so Atlas and Xbox have been partnering a bit more. I think most recently it was, I can't remember all the specific titles, but there's several Persona titles that are on Game Pass as an example. So they seem to be collaborating more as of late. So maybe not that surprising that you were going to see something from them here. I don't know. I wouldn't expect these games to be exclusive, like no chance. So I think this might be just like some sort of marketing thing. But interesting that they're premiering all the stuff on Xbox, where you'd probably expect it to be on PlayStation, maybe even Nintendo Switch. So, but here we are. I'll probably play all of these, right? Like I'm a pretty big
definitely.
Persona fan. I'm a big Shin Megami fan. I guess Tactica might be like, it looks pretty interesting, but I'm very all over the place when it comes to tactics games. Like, I very rarely complete any of them. But if the idea is that this is kind of like a Fire Emblem type version of a game, but set in Persona 5, that I'm interested in that. So we'll just have to see some more from it. For me, the thing I'm most interested in is the new game, which, who knows how to say that. I was just in Italy and feel like I should be able to pronounce that, but Refantasio.
What does it even mean?
Yeah, I don't know. I thought for sure this was some sort of Shin Megami. Maybe I didn't think it was a mainline sequel, but I thought it was going to be, kind of in that universe. And Alice does like a lot of spin-off games off of Persona and Shin Megami, so I thought this could be one of those. But this seems to be like its own kind of new franchise. So look pretty cool. So very excited about that. That's probably one of the most interesting announcements for me in the Xbox showcase.
Yeah, and definitely seeing at least some actual gameplay footage and stuff like that, which was a lot, I think was really good. Next big game on our list is Cyberpunk 2077 Phantom Liberty. So they showed off, they had Keanu Reeves, like I said, one of my favorite people to see in one of these showcases, come in, obviously from playing Johnny Silverhand, to introduce a bit of the trailer for the new Phantom Liberty expansion or DLC that's coming out for Cyberpunk, starring Idris Elba. Definitely looks super interesting. Obviously Cyberpunk aesthetic still there. It's gonna be cool to see kind of like a different part of the cyberpunk world that doesn't have to do with the main city. It seems like you'll be trying to rescue. You're hired as a mercenary trying to rescue the president. I think if I got that right, that their plane crashed into an area and they got to go in and help rescue them. So that looks pretty good. It's just more cyberpunk. What more can I say? I enjoyed the game. Still kind of disappointed by how it released and not feeling like what I saw from the whole thing. But this is probably something I might pick up. I'm on the fence about it, just to get back into the world. What about you?
I was only like 50% paying attention, because I think this was like kind of towards the end of the showcase, and I was like getting pretty tired. And
And there was another showcase after.
oh my god, yeah. And then I just straight up was not paying attention in Starfield, which we'll get into in a little bit. But I was okay not really paying attention because I know I'm gonna buy it. So yeah, you mentioned when Cyberpunk came out, it kind of had mixed reception. I totally get that. For me, I really enjoyed what I played. I'm eager to go back into Night City with which I guess that's where I don't know who knows if it actually takes place there, but I'm sure it's involved in some way. So yeah, I just kind of knew I was already going to get it. So, and it comes out pretty soon.
Yeah, it's out September 26th, so it looks like September is going to be a pretty stacked September for good video games. And then the last kind of announcement that they had before they went on to the next showcase is the Xbox S with 1 terabyte of storage for $350, which we like. This was I think the dumbest thing ever. The dumbest way to end the showcase.
I couldn't fucking believe this, dude.
We were, obviously we're used to one last big thing that a lot of people do in the showcase just to show us something that will, knock our socks off and kind of give us a reason to sit an hour and watch this. So for this to be like the last thing is so anticlimactic. Like it was very disappointing.
They didn't think it was the last thing. So I don't know if you remember this, but they were queuing up the Starfield Direct, and they're like, "Oh yeah, like well, our one more thing is going to be this deep dive on Starfield." I'm like, that's literally not what that is.
Yeah,
like
it's its own separate thing.
Like the one more thing framework. It's meant to be like a surprise reveal of something that people like not something that you've explicitly announced you're going to do. So I feel like there's been this violation of maybe it's like unwritten rules of like what a one more thing is, but like I feel like that is not a one more thing.
If I ever see Phil Spencer, I'm gonna let him know.
So me and you, I think, are aligned on that. And then so if you exclude Starfield, then you're like, okay, well, the one more thing is a bigger storage for just like I couldn't fucking
not even
it.
their main console because it's not for the X, it's for the S.
I couldn't believe it.
But yeah.
So yeah, it kind of ended on a whimper. But I don't know. So the way they structured this was just kind of weird. But I don't know. Is that a good segue to?
Well, before we do segue into Starfield and all that stuff, we did want to give like our full impressions of the whole thing. I think I don't know how to feel about this. This is also meh for me, but even more meh than the Summer Game Fest, just because, like I said, my main problem with it, with the Sony one before was not actual gameplay. With this one being actual gameplay, but it's just in-game CGI stuff. Very, very disappointed on that end. The games themselves, still a lot of coming soon kind of thing. Nothing really to show for. The good amount of things that they did show for something like Persona and that new game by Capcom, Path of the Goddess and stuff like that. I think I really enjoyed those parts, but a lot of the other stuff was like I felt like it was really weak. So I wasn't a big fan of this. I was disappointed. I was actually hyped for this as a gamer, just because I want to see good games and stuff like that. What about you? I know you said you probably feel different.
How would you rank the Sony, Xbox, and Summer Game Fest?
So I would give the Sony one a B, just because it was actual.
Oh, we don't need to do. I mean, like.
Just
for those three, like.
So I would do Sony 1, Game Fest 2, Xbox 3.
Okay, I would do Sony. I was thinking Xbox. I would probably do Sony, Xbox, Summer Game Fest, but I'm flexible with 2 and 3. Like they're both. I don't know. Maybe here's what I would say. Like the Xbox showcase had more games that I'm excited by, but I'm also wildly infuriated by how long it was. The Hellblade 2 trailer, the like one more thing kerfuffle, them like being very misleading around what they mean by cinematics and like trying to shit on Sony, but then that ended up like not. So it's, I don't know. It's tough. They're both kind of in the same. But like the Summer Game Fest, I thought was just like there was just nothing. They had nothing other than Final Fantasy VII remake.
Yeah, but that's where I come in and I say I wasn't expecting anything for Summer Game Fest because it's not the big publishers, it's not the main guys. So I can't fault them for that. But yeah. All right, so let's move on to the next showcase, and that's going to be the Starfield one. Obviously, like they said, they did show a trailer in the Xbox One, which we both were like, "Why are you showing a trailer
yeah,
here?"
I forgot about that. Yeah. They showed a trailer for the game. It's like, what are you thinking? Dude?
You have
like,
1 hour after
this.
They
had some internal metric of like runtime that they're like trying to.
Yeah,
It's
or they were probably like, nobody's gonna watch that 1 hour thing. Let's put a trailer in here so people can watch that instead. But
the hell is that?
but they did lead into the 1 hour Starfield showcase. Which showed off a lot of the game. Looks really good, I think. Looks way better than what we've seen. Obviously, the delay has definitely helped, especially since it was supposed to be released around this time. But the gunplay looks really, really good. Way better than it's ever looked on a Bethesda game. Obviously, that was one of, like, I think your big pain points whenever when you first saw it.
It didn't even look real. Like, it just... So yeah, it looks way better. So
yeah, and then the worlds look really great. The exploration looks really good. The ship customization looks amazing. I think a lot of people will be able to do a lot of cool things. I will not be one of them because I probably will not be buying this game. It's just not up my alley. I think there's too much stuff to do. I think that's the other thing for me, at least from what I saw. I do like spending a good amount of time in the world, but just where like I play a lot of Destiny, it doesn't seem tedious to me.
Where there's nothing to do.
Yeah, well, there's nothing to do. It just doesn't seem Destiny to me. Shut up. Destiny to me, at least, doesn't seem tedious. I think this would seem tedious to me, like all the factions and the missions and going to planets and you're collecting ores and shit and plants and scanning, and I'm like, what the fuck? I do not want to do any of this. It seems like work to me. Also, No Man's Sky is out there, so it's already
the first 30 seconds to a minute, like you could have shown that to someone who like plays No Man's Sky and they'd be like, oh, like
it looks better. It just looks better.
New game, new No Man's Sky content.
But I don't know if this is gonna validate your big stinker of 2023.
No, this is no. I thought it was good. I mean, it was in the. What am I trying to say here? It's moving the game in the direction that opposes my stinker proclamation. But other feedback I had on the showcase, like I thought this was also way too long. Like I think
it could have been an email.
Yeah, it could have been an email. So I don't know, like maybe that's just on me, or I don't know, maybe we're the weird ones, but I feel like just because, like how long was that? I don't even remember. Like
it was like 50 minutes, and then we thought. At 40 minutes, we thought it was going to be over, and then they decided to add another 10 minutes and show off the special edition and all that stuff.
50 minutes?
It was 50 minutes, man.
Oh my god, dude. Like I was like, couldn't focus. Like it was just way too much information, and I feel like a lot of the core stuff they could have just simplified, and so I don't know. Like that's like more of like a marketing thing in terms of just. I don't think you need to have. Showcases that are that long, but it did look. I mean, it looked good. I'm still having some reservations around just with all of the issues we've been having with like other huge titles launching and just having nonstop problems and performance issues or whatever. So I'm still reserving, some space for that to be a situation that happens when the game launches. I think everyone will kind of give Bethesda the Bethesda like bug pass, where it's a very expansive game, very difficult to develop, weird shit's gonna happen. That kind of is what everyone expects. So like I don't think people are gonna be too critical around that, but I do think there could be some like genuine performance issues. Even with that, under those like perfect conditions of like how they're recording all that footage, like you can kind of see like the game was like chugging along and in certain spots. So we'll see. But it was better than I thought it was going to be, which I think is a good thing, because deep down I want this to be a fun
So
game.
you want this? Oh, I was gonna say, I think deep down you want this to fail catastrophically.
No. Like I just think that there's a scenario where that happens. It's just because it's a very anticipated game. It's like for a lot of people, it's like their number one game of the year, and so there's a lot of expectations and hype around it. And in my mind, I'm like, okay, there's a chance that it's just like it's not even close, to that. It could be like another Cyberpunk, type situation, but not exactly the same. But maybe the outcome is similar, but for different reasons. So I don't know, but this goes back to maybe Oblivion or Skyrim. But when I was playing those games, and I was just like, oh my god, give me this game, but it's sci-fi, and
Yeah.
like this is exactly what that is. So no, so it's a game I'm very very much looking forward to.
All right. Well, yeah. Overall thoughts on the showcases, like you said, it was definitely didn't need to be 50 minutes. I think if they would have tacked it onto the end of the 15 minutes
It
end of
should
the
have just been
Xbox
its
One.
own, like closer to launch, do its own thing. Like I think tacking it on to a already long show, just like I don't think that was appropriate.
Yeah, and I think the fact that like the main Xbox showcase was a bit underwhelming. Maybe that's why they thought tacking that onto the end will kind of make people happy or something. Well, whatever. All right, and that does it for the showcases that we wanted to discuss. The one last bit of news that we did want to discuss as well is the Apple Vision Pro. We're not big Apple guys. We're like Apple, so what?
Hate their guts.
We like oranges. No, that was bad. But
I'm not editing that out. You gotta take the L on that.
I'll live with it. But yeah, Apple announced the Vision Pro, which is their new mixed reality, virtual reality headset. It's gonna be $3,500. Insane, but it's Apple, so it's gonna have 12
I think
cameras.
that's more expensive than my first car.
Oh my god!
Yeah.
It's gonna have 12 cameras, five sensors, 6 mics. It's gonna have a 3D camera. It's also gonna have some eye tracking as well as an optic ID software that scans your retina, and it's gonna run on 2-hour battery life. This, I don't know who this is for. This is very similar, like what was the one that the Meta Quest that they did a while back. That was the Microsoft one. That it was more for like XL and stuff like that. The AR one.
Oh, HoloLens?
Yeah, HoloLens.
Yeah,
It was. This is basically that, just Apple branded. I mean, it didn't seem appealing to me. Obviously, we have so many other devices like the Meta Quest, the Vive, and the PlayStation VR that, as a gamer at least, seems more appealing to me. And I feel like they're already there. I think this is just Apple was kind of already working on this, and they wanted to have their own thing, but this is, I think, a fail on their part. I don't think it's not going to be mass produced in the sense of there's going to be a very big market for it. It's really expensive as hell. Nothing appealing was about it. I don't want to see my phone apps in my face. Like, that's not appealing to me. I don't want to do that. I want to play video games or something, or take tours or something. What do you think of the Vision Pro? What do you think of this announcement?
Yeah, I didn't see anything, the term is killer app. There's no killer app for it, which I kind of thought Apple might have something up their sleeve that would be like, wow, this is like a super interesting, unique experience that we can only do on this device. So that was missing. Who knows about gaming? Like it's definitely not like a gaming first device. Like it kind of seems it's more along the lines of, I guess, what Meta's doing with making it more of like a productivity oriented thing. I think they showed maybe a little bit of footage, or I just read it somewhere, but I think it will have that feature that's like similar to when you're in virtual reality. If you have a virtual reality headset, you can like make it seem like you're in a giant theater with a giant screen, and I don't know, maybe there's like some interesting gaming applications there, but like, I'm not fucking playing Candy Crush on my, it's like Apple doesn't have the greatest games ecosystem. It's basically mobile games, and then whatever developers decide to, port games to it. I think I saw Kojima was actually there. I think there's going to be like a version of Death Stranding or something. It's like, okay, like whatever. But anyway, so it's like, not a lot going to be excited about this. Like I'm not a big Apple fan to begin with, so the likelihood of there being a VR/AR device that compels me to like get back into the Apple ecosystem is basically like a 0% chance. So I think this will be maybe pretty similar to Sony, PlayStation VR 2, where it's really like just diehard. And instead of it being PlayStation fanatics, it's like the diehard Apple fanatics who like all bought the first version of the Apple Watch, even though there was like no reason to own one. So I think it's going to be like that market, which, maybe that can be pretty lucrative if you have, a bunch of idiots paying you $3,500. That can become pretty lucrative pretty quickly, depending on how many Apple fanatics there are in the world, which I think is a pretty big number. So
yeah, can't wait to see one of those idiots out on the streets with their little
oh
battery
my God,
pack.
I'm just gonna like just punch right through the.
Can you see my fist? But yeah, so that was the last thing. Definitely kind of, it'll be interesting to see how this goes. They said it's going to be out early next year, so we'll keep a tab on that. I don't think it's going to do gangbusters. So, all right. So that does it for all the topics we wanted to discuss. A lot of big showcases with very interesting games, and can't wait to see what this week holds with Capcom. Square Enix is doing something later on tonight, so that'll be interesting, showcasing Final Fantasy 16. And I'm guessing they'll probably do something throughout the week. Nintendo still hasn't done anything, so we'll see some from them, I think, as well. So we'll keep up to date with us in next week's episode, and we'll obviously be discussing whatever gets announced this week. And we will start with some closing thoughts. This week, in terms of gaming, just been playing, some Street Fighter. Still trying to get good. Still trying to stop you from throwing me, you fucking asshole. It's not working. You keep throwing me, but. I'm trying to do the combos. You let me borrow the fight stick, the joystick one. Definitely easier to input than a controller. I still think I might have to experiment with a hit stick. I might have to go somewhere and play with one, just because like I feel like I overdo the combo, or just the input's not reading it right. It's not reacting as fast as I want it to. And I think it has a little bit to do with the game itself. I feel like when I'm doing the tutorials to string some combos, I'm doing the strings, but it's not recognizing like the input. Maybe I'm not doing fast enough. That's what kind of sucks. I wish I knew like somebody that was really, really deep in the fighting game community, or was able to perform these moves, so I could just ask like, hey, what am I doing wrong, and stuff like that. And then just kind of hearing everybody else play Diablo 4. Which which is kind of good. I know you've been trying to get me to.
I'm gonna get you. I'm gonna get your ass.
Yeah, you're trying to get me to get it, but I'm committed. I'm committed to not buying anything until Final Fantasy 16 comes out because that's the one I want to play, and I have other games to play. And then this is a sad one. Well, sad for our friendship, but I did go see Across the Spider-Verse. I know we had talked about.
You know, there's me and you, and then there's my wife.
Yeah,
I told her that
you
saw
told her
this already, and she was furious.
Damn it!
She was like, I didn't even think she was gonna get mad. I was more like matter of factly just telling her that you saw the movie, and then we need to make other plans. And then she was like,
we don't.
Let's just see that together. I'm like, okay, like
we don't need to make other plans. We could still make the plan. I want to watch the movie again.
Okay.
That's how great it is.
I was like, he'll watch it again. Don't worry. And then
it'll be like a new experience because there's a lot of stuff that like it's a lot going on. I know there was a lot of criticism where it wasn't as tight as the first one in terms of story because the first one told such a grounded story, family story. This one, obviously, with all the spider people everywhere, and spider animals and all that stuff. Like,
spoilers.
It's in the trailer, bro.
I know.
But yeah, it's a great movie. Obviously, I won't discuss it too much, but I think it definitely it's one of the greatest sequels I think I've ever seen, and obviously with the new animation styles, I think that's really really amazing. So yes, I will. I'm down to watch it again. I'm surprised I didn't watch it as soon as I finished watching it because I was like, oh shit, this is amazing. So yes, tell Layla that I am up for it. I did feel bad, like I said, because I watched it. I was just bored and I didn't have anything to do, so I was like, oh, well, let me go see it.
Because you didn't buy Diablo.
Yeah, so
if you bought Diablo, then we would be playing that instead.
Yeah. What about you? What you been up to?
Diablo.
Surprise.
Yeah, I've been playing quite a bit of that. Having a good time with it. I don't know how much longer I'll play it.
What?
So I don't know. Like maybe once I get like into the multiplayer, like I'll be like, okay, like this is gonna have a lot more longevity. But I don't know. It's like I think it's pretty similar with all these other. You know, the same thing happened with Lost Ark. I think I don't even remember like PoE, but like all these like isometric action hack and slash games where I'll play them for a couple weeks and then I just kind of get like bored by it. So I'm just trying to get ahead of like that potentially happening with Diablo. But as of now, I'm having a good time with it. It's just like a fairly streamlined, hack and slash, kind of what you would expect from Diablo. The story, specifically like the cinematics and like a lot of the story elements are like really, really, really good. And that's like not something that I care about that much in games. But I think they pulled them off very well. So that's been like a highlight of the game so far for sure for me. So yeah, that's been keeping me pretty busy. I think when this might have been last week's episode or maybe a few episodes before that, we were talking around some of the positive impressions. We were a lot of really good reviews around the game, and then we found out that was before they like opened the floodgates on like all like basically like the store. And I have to say like that's like the most egregious pricing I've like, because it's like it's a $70. The cheapest version is a $70 digital download, and then you get the game. And then if you go to the store, it's all just like cosmetics and stuff like that. So, but like getting anything cosmetic is like a ton of money. Like I don't remember the exact dollar values, but it's like $10, $20, whatever, just to like get skins and
wow, that's pricey.
The pricing is fucking crazy. So, and I think they're trying to justify it to be like, well, it's not pay to win, so it's okay. And it's like, okay, like like sure that is good, but like that doesn't 100% justify why the prices are so high for this shit, why there's like so much of it available at launch that you like couldn't have just made it available in the game. It's not like something that they've developed after the fact and are rolling it out and need some way to monetize it. So that's kind of soured me on it a little bit. But other than that, it's still having a good time. Then yeah, Street Fighter 6. I've actually haven't played it as much recently because of Diablo, but I have been playing it. Yeah, it's awesome. I think it's just more of more of the same feedback that I already shared in last week's episode. The World Tour mode, I'm just kind of like slogging along in it. I might end up just like dropping that, but
You're trying to get that Hoboken second outfit.
yeah, I really want those like alt costumes. So, I might just be better off just like paying the damn money. Because I don't, unlike Diablo, I don't think it's like fucking $25. So I don't know. So still TBD on World Tour, but other than that, like it's a fantastic game.
We were able to do the custom room, which we were really impressed by how easy it was to get people in there and set up matches and also spectate the matches and then get next in queue. So I wanted to mention that.
That was awesome. Yeah, that's great. And that was just, there was maybe like 3 or 4 of us in a custom room. And then if you, I don't know, I guess you could get 16.
Yeah,
30,
16 total.
16 total? Okay. Yeah. I don't have that many friends, so I'll never go higher than 16, but it's good to know that if we get a bigger group and get like a tournament going or whatever, like that was a great experience. So yeah, that was pretty cool.
Yeah, super excited about that. Hopefully, makes our vision of having small Street Fighter tournaments quick and easy on our Discord.
I'm at a disadvantage. Everyone knows that I just spam throwing, so.
Yeah, but you still get them. Still
got them.
Yeah.
Still got them. So yeah, Diablo, Street Fighter, still doing some daily grinding with Honkai Star Rail. That's starting to drop off a little bit. I might just put that game on the shelf until there's like another big significant content update. Then Zelda, I've played it a lot. That one's also I haven't played it as much because of Diablo and Street Fighter. So there's just a lot going on. So I'm kind of worried about what happens when Final Fantasy 16 comes out because everything gets dropped to focus on that for sure, unless like I end up like hating the game for whatever reason, which I don't think is likely, but that gets my priority. And then but I don't know, it's a good I think that's also kind of influenced my maybe more kind of cynical negative takes on the game showcases, where it's just like I have some of the best fucking games that have ever come out, and I'm playing them all like right now, and then I'm comparing that to all this other stuff that's like getting announced, and I'm like, yeah, like I'm good. Like
yeah, it's been a good June. I think it's the one of the best months that I've seen in a while in terms of good video games that are coming out, and also the month's not even over, so there's even better ones coming out at the end. So it's a good June.
Thanks, June.
Yeah.
That's it. We got to do Spider-Man. Maybe last thing is on TV. I did finish Succession.
What'd you think? Spoilers for anybody that watches Succession.
We can keep it spoiler free. I don't want to talk about it that much.
Okay.
I'll just kind of say what have you. I liked how it ended. I did not enjoy the season.
Yeah, it was we discussed this before. I think it was a lot of a filler in after the dad, spoiler, passed away. There was a lot of filler in that part to just kind of wrap it up, but I think it was a good ending. I don't know why these kids are complaining. They became multimillionaires or billionaires, whatever.
Billionaires, yeah.
Yeah, billionaire. Like, bro, you still won, but rich people. I guess they want to do their own thing.
Yeah, I just the characters were just like flip flop, and I guess maybe that's like, oh, well, that's their character. And I'm like, okay, like, but for like television, and like it was just like all over the place with the character. Like I don't know, so it's the characters were kind of frustrating. Some of the relationships evolved in a way that I just kind of found more annoying than entertaining.
They are annoying people.
Yeah,
or were
which
annoying
I think that's so I get like, but for some reason I was like I accepted and was entertained by that for the first 2 seasons, and then this is the third season, right?
Fourth season.
Fourth season. Okay,
yeah.
so first several seasons, but for something about this one just didn't feel right.
Yeah, I think overall it was one of the weaker seasons, but it definitely had its moments. There was a couple like unforgettable lines that were said, like the "You're not serious people." I love that line. I think I want to say that to everybody.
I love the one that's "You're too online."
Oh yeah,
that was a good one.
Yeah, it's so subtle, but there's definitely like a lot of things you'll remember that just kind of like outrageous lines. And then the performance, I think, from some of the actors were really great, like Shiv and and Tom, amazing.
Yeah, that's what's kind of funny is the perform. I'm like, oh wow, the performance is incredible, but it was just like the writing or the context or whatever. Like I just wasn't feeling it in the last season, but like at the same time, there's definitely some like unbelievable performances.
All right. Well, now you just got to catch up on all the other shows.
Ted Lasso is next in the queue.
Ted Lasso is next. All right.
Yeah.
Can't wait to hear your thoughts on that.
Yeah.
Well, that does it for us. Make sure you guys are following us. Go to pressingbuttons.gg so you guys can get our links to all our social media and our Discord, which is where we're mainly at. We want to see you there. We want to talk to you. So thanks for joining us. We'll see you next week for the next episode. I'm Hugo. Bye.
I'm Nick. Later.